Alrighty guys, we're back for counter spells only, and this is an Edge of Eternities standard brew, and I'm Red Cat. Let's briefly go over the deck, then hop right into some ranked. So every single card in here counters something. Okay, so we got all 4 Voracious Greatsharks here on the top end. 5 mana, 5/4 with flash. When this creature enters, counter target artifact or creature. Nice. We have 4 Riverwalk Techniques also here on the top end for 4 whole mana at instant speed. You get to choose one of these. You can have the owner of target non-land permanent put it on their choice of top or bottom of their library, or counter target non-creature spell. Cool. We have all 4 Tishana's Tidebinder. It's a 3 mana 3/2 with flash. When it enters, counter up to 1 target activated or triggered ability. If an ability of an artifact, creature, or planeswalker is countered this way, that permanent loses all abilities for as long as this creature remains on the battlefield. It's actually pretty good, guys. We have 3 Twist Realities. It's a 3 mana instant speed. You get to choose one, counter target spell, or Manifest Dread. Okay. We have 4 Diversion Unit, 2 mana 2/1 with flying. For 1 blue mana, you can sacrifice it. Counter target instant or sorcery spell unless its controller pays 3. Now we have the new Divert Disaster here as a 4 of 2 mana instant speed, counter target spell unless its controller pays 2. If they do, you get a lander token. We have a 1 of Negate. We have a 1 of Annul too, which I think is going to hit a lot more than you'd expect. We have all 4 Phantom Interference. Got to do some rearranging. Most of the time it's going to be a 2 mana counter spell, but sometimes it's going to be a 4 mana way to get a 2/2 Spirit onto the board. All 4 3 steps ahead, of course. Got to do some rearranging for this one too. A lot of times it's going to be a 3 mana spell, whether we're countering something or doing the card draw on the bottom, or it could be pretty good to do the middle ability and copy something like a Voracious Greatshark or something. And then also a couple Spell Pierce making the cut too. Over in the mana base, we needed more win conditions for sure, so I got a couple Crawling Barrens. It's actually pretty good to keep this open with some counter spells, right? You don't use a counter spell, power up the Barrens, get a couple counters on that. Yeah, seems pretty good. 24 total mana. Hopefully that's going to be enough. Over in the honorable mentions, Fear of Imposters was a card I thought about, but once the opponent manifests Dread, we don't have a whole lot of ways to actually get rid of that manifested Dread card. So yeah, not this time around, but I thought about it for sure. Okay, I do my dandiest to save the more in-depth discussion for the end of the video, so look forward to that. In the meantime, let's go ahead, take this into some ranked, see how we do. All right into that first game. What am I expecting from the build? I mean, it has to be jank, right? Right? It has to be jank. Opponent goes first. Yeah, we can keep this. Was trying to find something wrong with it, but Hinterland Sanctifier will survive on the board state for the rest of the game, because we don't really have a lot of ways to deal with that. Crap. Hopefully they miss another 1-drop. Oh, crap, dude. Oh, crap. Right out the gate, game 1, we are in danger. It's a very good board state for the opponent to have. Best case scenario would be a full swing on turn 3, and we can drop a Tidebinder to get some a surprise block into like the Vanguard. It would trade. That's a counter for sure. All right, first counter spell of the evening. Let's go. Now, had we gone first, I think it would have been worthwhile countering like the Vanguard or something. Crawling Barrens is pretty good. I have Tidebinder and Twist Reality open. We could always manifest Dread as well. Yeah, the bane of this deck's existence will definitely be go wide builds, but also go wide builds that that drop it so early too. That's probably not worth the counter, but we could counter the Sanctifier's ability. But I think we'd rather just have a surprise block. Oh, crap, dude. Essence Channeler has to die, though. All right. Yep, Twist Reality. They got a great swing here again, bringing us down to 11. They go up to 27. Hopefully they miss the 4th mana with a Leyline. Another Greatshark's actually pretty good, but right now, I don't know if we're gonna make it long enough to play both of these Greatsharks. Another Essence Channeler. Alright, we should stop the Essence Channeler ability, right? Because if we stop the Sanctifier ability, just stops the life gain from the Sanctifier. They'll still have other life gain from like Healer's Hawk and everything too. Alright. Essence Channeler ability on the stack. Let's go ahead, counter it. I'll still take that trade into the Vanguard. So maybe they just swing in the air this time. They do, bringing us down to 10. Maybe I should have played Tidebinder last turn. Alright. 5th mana open. Greatshark looking fantastic, but we're still going to have an issue with the number of flyers that this deck list can actually push onto the table. If we start swinging, they start getting the Channeler ability again, so we got to keep Tidebinder around. Plus, we're locking down these 1/1s. Except for Vanguard, that's usually going to be a 2/2. Ruin Lurker Bat. You know what? Probably worth it, right? Because there's no guarantee that they have another Channeler in hand, which would be a much better counterspell, of course, but stopping another flyer in the air is pretty good for us. Okay, they go up to 34. Divert Disaster should actually be decent. With 5 mana, we have Divert Disaster with another Tidebinder open, but also just Greatshark open. I think we can successfully swing with Greatshark, bring them down to 29. That's not bad. What, a 6-turn clock remaining opponent. Watch out. Watch out, buddy. No, a second Greatshark could, I mean, we could bump that clock pretty fast. They'll have chump blockers for days, but... Ooh, good counter. Very good counter. Honestly, yeah, no, it should be the Greatshark. I was going to say, well, they're completely tapped out. Divert Disaster could be better, but just getting a creature onto the board is even better, right? Swing in the air. Diversion Unit. Yes, that helps us block in the air beautifully. Swing with the Greatsharks. Maybe get them down to 21 here. Yep, they're going to take it. No chumps yet. Get the Diversion Unit down. Keep 4 open. If we don't play anything from hand, we want to keep the Crawling Barrens available. But we're probably going to play other stuff out of hand. We'll see what they end up drawing here. Could be more mana. Worst case scenario would be Leyline, but thank goodness Divert Disaster is available in hand. Now, I will take this trade all day. Ooh. Okay. I think I will accept these. How do you guys feel about that? We don't know what's in hand, but like I said, Divert Disaster. We lose our flyer, but we can't take 4. With another Tidebinder in hand, too. Yeah, let's see what they do. At 3 creatures, we could play the Tidebinder just for playing it, but at the end of their turn, I think we're just going to power up the Barrens. We don't have to power it up. I just mean put some +1 counters onto it. A Riverwalk Technique should be decent. It is non-creature spell, but we can always banish like Healer's Hawk to the top or something. Now, being at 8, it's a little sketchy. You power up Crawling Barrens. That's probably not until the very last turn, though. We're doing great, guys. They're going to take the 10 down to 12. Alright, we're going to keep our hand open. Let's see what ends up happening here. They find a 5th mana, which is actually pretty good for them as they get further away from the Divert Disaster. And we have the Crawling Barrens. That's a risky swing. Still have 2 mana open for the Divert Disaster. Hopefully it's enough, but they got 5 mana. Take 2 down to 6. Nothing. Nothing from the opponent, guys. 3 steps ahead is so good. Holy cow. I think we just go for the victory this turn, though. Yep, GG opponent. Wow. Since it wasn't anything last turn, it probably wasn't going to be anything that turn, too. So powering up the Crawling Barrens and swinging for 16 damage. Holy cow. There I was saying we were in danger. That was a crazy first game, and all the counter spells, even the Tidebinder, coming in handy, locking down that channeler was crazy. That was wow. I'm a counterspell player now, guys. That's just who I am. We're rebranding the channel. Not actually, of course, right? We go first. Great news. Early counter spells will find mana off the top easily. Is there a reason not to keep this other than missing the 3rd mana? No. We got 24 mana in here too, so. All right. Gonna be a tapped land from the opponent. Diversion Unit's pretty good. We could probably play it. We don't need to counter their turn 2. We'd rather counter their turn 3. See what they got for us. Yeah, if it's like mono white. Ooh, starting town. Okay, probably. Okay, Seam Rip. Wow. That's probably a decent target for them. What does Windswept Bastion, starting town, and Seam Rip exist in? Okay, we do miss the 3rd, but I'm not worried about it. Hushwood Verge, so Selesnya so far. Legendary creature grabs Kona likely. Definitely counter that. Definitely. Okay, missing the 3rd mana, guys. 24 mana in here. We'll be fine. We'll be fine. We still got a couple turns here. We have one more interference. They pass it back. Divert Disaster is pretty good too, but the opponent is getting enough mana to play around these. 11 cards in. We're overdue for that mana. With 5 open, they can play their 3-drop now and not worry about another Phantom Interference, which is definitely why they didn't play anything last turn. Since we're low on mana, we should do the Divert Disaster, let them pay the 2. At least they're tapped out. They won't be able to do anything else this turn. But also, we get the Lander token. We're missing the 3rd, guys. We should probably get it. Just in case. If we miss the 3rd again, and they don't give us a counter, then we can at least use the Lander on their turn to get the 3rd. We do find the 3rd. Let's go, guys. Holy cow. All right. Yeah. Well, now we're open with a whole bunch of counter spells. Velgavoth, definitely a Kona deck list, right? we got to counter these big things for sure. Let's see. Kona number 1. No, Overlord of the Mistmoors for 4. They got the 2 open, so they're still playing around these, right? But we should probably... So 3 steps ahead. Gives us options in the future. Twist Reality's Manifest Dread is probably unnecessary, so we'll go for just the counterspell on the Twist Reality. Let's see if they still got a 2-mana thing to do here. 2 cards remaining in hand that we don't know about. Yeah, maybe. Looking at their grave. Oh, Analyze the Pollen. They go ahead and grab that Kona from the deck list. 4th mana is huge for us, guys. Yes. All right. That's what I'm talking about. Tapped land. Could always, okay, another Overlord of the Mistmoors. Still got the 2 mana open, so the opponent's playing this very well for the mana that they have. We could always just stop the ability, I guess. With the Tidebinder. That's probably okay. We know what's left in their hand, and it's not removal. If we stop the ability, that doesn't include the counters, right? I don't think so. Yeah, it comes in with the counters. Tidebinder, hit the ability here. Yeah, the counters still get counted down. That's pretty scary. Maybe I shouldn't have done that, right? Maybe. 5 mana open, Greatshark counters the Kona. Do we have 3 turns to push this damage through? That's the big question. I think so. Yeah, we have to get by the Overlord. Maybe I should have just went for the full counter, guys, maybe. But keeping the full counter for the Kona seems so much better. No, it's Greatshark. It's Greatshark. I'd love the draw, but we got to push this damage, and that puts us on a 2-turn clock since they went down to 16 here. Or puts them on a 2-turn clock is what I meant to say. This is crazy, guys. We have a counter for everything. Anything that they decide to do, we got 6 mana on the board. We could 3 steps ahead twice. You know what? We might as well. Might as well, right? Still got 8 on the board. They got no surprises. GG. Guys, wow. Wow. The deck list is performing. Alright. I found the deck list to rank up with, guys. We found it at long last. Oh, man. Ooh, nice. All right, let's keep the ball rolling, huh? We're only 16 minutes in. Really good first games of just countering things. It's been, actually, this is great practice for me and learning when to counter things. Because when I play other deck lists that have blue in them too, you know, if I do happen to have counter spells, I'm not, like, the greatest at deciding what's worth a counter. This is good practice, for sure. All right. Missing so much mana that last game, too. Holy cow. Holy cow. I mean, it's just so brutal. Saz's Chocobo. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, guys. I probably should have mulliganed this to find more of our early actual counter spells. Because Diversion Unit does not do much against mono green landfall. Actually, if we miss the 3rd mana this game, it's not going to be anything like the last game. We're not going to have those extra turns. If we do find the 3rd mana, Tidebinder locking down Tifa's abilities crazy. Or any of their creatures' abilities. They're using an escape tunnel now. Get a good swing on the Saz's Chocobo here without any blocks then. We do find the 3rd. Thank goodness, guys. I'm not going to keep a blocker. We're very much trying to do the tempo thing. I don't know the last time I won against mono green landfall, guys. That's scary. It very well just might be the type of deck list that I like to play. Could lock down the ability of Bristly Bill. I think this is a full counter spell. With 3 steps ahead, and then we just kind of hope that we find even more counter spells. Let's see if they play the land now, because they obviously wanted Bristly Bill down before the land. They still got a good swing with the Saz's Chocobo. Still 1 mana open too. Down to 15. Top end, I'm going to keep the Tidebinder open. Maybe we can lock the Saz's Chocobo ability, if that's all they end up having. We could, like, try to set up a double block, but I don't think that's worthwhile. Frenzied Bailiff. Wow. Definitely going for the aggro side here. First of all, Frenzied Bailiff can't be countered. Maybe we will lock down the Chocobo ability. And then Tidebinder trades into the Bailiff pretty well. We still take 1 damage, though. We're preventing 2 damage from the Saz's Chocobo and 2 damage from the Bailiff, and then potentially trading into the Bailiff. So on the stack, they got the Fabled Passage. So this would have been... Actually, yeah. We're only preventing 1 counter then. And that would have happened no matter what, right? If we would have let it go through and then activated it on the second. So we did just stop the attack completely from the Bailiff. I'm going to go ahead and take the 4 this time because I think there's a better block in the Tidebinder's future. We do find the 4th mana, thank goodness. Now, with the Riverwalk technique, we can banish the Saz's Chocobo to the top, probably. I don't think they'd want to send it to the bottom. Could also double down on diversion units. If we think we can survive next turn, they'd be down to 14. We'd still have 6 in the air. Not quite there yet. Probably be forced into some blocks. It's probably better to try for maximum survival. Keep both back. No, I'll swing. I'll swing in the air. And I'll keep Riverwalk Technique open. We'll try to banish that Saz's Chocobo. Very tempting to get these both down, but I do think we're in a lot of danger. We just don't want to forget that this is specifically counter target non-creature spell. But yeah, using the top ability, getting rid of the Saz's Chocobo. I guess it could be a Snakeskin Veil. Still just swinging with the Saz's Chocobo. We're going to do our best here. See if the banish goes through. If they got some protection. We might be forced into a chump. No, it's banished to the top, guys. Nice. So a nice, really clean tempo play for the turn. But they are free to play whatever else they want from hand now. We didn't have any counters open anyways. Oh, Traveling Chocobo lets them play a bird from the top. There you go. Very good play from the opponent. Land from hand. Yeah, we're in danger. Oh, another Saz's Chocobo off the top too, guys. Oh no, well now we have Greatshark open. Maybe we could get a really good block next turn. We swing in the air, we're at 11. Swing in the air, they go down to 12. Block here, maybe emergency block on the Greatshark. They probably want to do it. They probably finally want to get that full swing. We have a block on the ground. We still got a couple diversion units ready. I'm gonna still try to push that damage through. I think we're safe next turn, guys. If they were playing like red in there, I'd say we're not safe. I guess technically a couple more Bailiffs from hand could kill us pretty fast. Couple Bailiffs, another Fable Passage. We'd really have to decide what the best blocks were, but we'd probably die. But that would be pretty lucky too, right? I'm on the edge of my seat. Also, yeah, no, a couple Bailiffs because they can't be countered. At that point, if it is a couple Bailiffs, then no matter what, we keep the Greatshark as a surprise on their combat. Also, they got to be a little bit careful because we do have Crawling Barrens open too, but that's only going to be a 2/2. Alright, 6th mana. At least it's not a Fable Passage, huh? This Saz's Chocobo just grew out of the range of the shark. It would still be a trade, but not a very good one for us. We'd rather trade into the Traveling Chocobo before it gets out of hand even further, because they can play more Traveling Chocobos off the top. Finding the second Saz's Chocobo was really, really bad for us. They do just swing with that one Saz's Chocobo. No, they're thinking about it. Looking at the Tidebinder here. It'd be great if they swung with that other one, guys. It really would be. Nope, just the one Saz's Chocobo. We could accept the trade. Not the trade. Well, yeah, we could accept the trade from the Greatshark, or we could just chump, save Greatshark for main phase 2, hope that it actually lands on something. If it doesn't, we could power up Barrens. We could power up Barrens, double block into the Chocobo. That doesn't seem great because then we won't have 5. 5 on the board. 5 from the Greatshark. I'm gonna take it. I'm gonna take the damage, guys. All right, down to 7. Okay. Okay, that could be dangerous, to say the least. Let's try to get a really good counterspell here. And the reason I did that was there's probably a better chump in the Tidebinder's future, but then also... Oh, creature spells you control can't be countered. Oh. Crap. Holy cow, there's a lot on Frenzied Bailiff, huh? Well, either way, we wanted the surprise Greatshark, so... Oh, Frenzied Bailiff is like worst case scenario for this deck list for sure. Alright, Riverwalk Technique, that's really good. So by them just playing 2 more creatures, that pretty much puts the nail in the coffin, right? So even if we have Riverwalk Technique, 2 blockers on the ground, 2 in the air, banish the big Chocobo, they just play it again from the Traveling Chocobo. Mossborn Hydra grows out of hand pretty fast. Riverwalk Technique will have to hit there too. I think we're dead no matter what. Maybe we could just go for the swing, try for some good chumps next turn. They might have some good trades here. I don't know, man. I think we're dead. I think we're dead no matter what. I'm just gonna go for the fun swing, keep the Tidebinder back for a chump that maybe I should have taken last turn. They go down to 5. They only got trample on the Hydra and the Bailiff. If they miss something like a Fable Passage, which they've already seen Escape Tunnel, Fable Passes, they got 6 mana on the board, but they see more off the top with the Traveling Chocobo. I think I'm going to go for chump blockers this turn over the Riverwalk Technique. Yeah. I don't know, man. This was a hard one. Hopefully I played it out well for you guys. But also, I definitely overlooked the middle ability on Frenzied Bailiff. You guys might have been screaming at me that whole time, right? Yeah, creature spells you control can't be countered. It's not just this spell can't be countered. So that is really, really devastating to this deck list. The Riverwalk techniques were pretty good, though. They do find Forest off the top from the Traveling Chocobo, but maybe that's all. Maybe it's not going to be a Spring Bloom Druid or something. Opponent? Have you considered my feelings, opponent? Hey, good game, buddy. Good game. So I'm glad we took the swing anyways, because we would have been super dead to from the Mossborn Hydra. No matter what, right? So, hey, good game, buddy. Good game. Yeah, I'm glad we took the swing. We got him down to 5. Maybe some more well-placed tempo swings early on could have helped a little bit, right? They got great chumps, great trades, but then Hydra will get through no matter what. See, I could have not swung, kept Riverwalk Technique open to banish Mossborn Hydra, probably right to the top. Maybe we could have survived the turn, but then we would have lost all of our creatures already established on the board anyways, and the opponent would have still been at 12. So really, like, no backswing. And then they'll just get the Mossborn Hydra again down and established. So even if we survived a couple more turns, we still would have been on the run. The opponent really saw it there too, so... yeah, that would have been hard for any deck list to deal with. I like the Frenzied Bailiff edition in the mono-green landfall. It makes a lot of sense. Mono-green landfall is just trying to do the aggro thing anyways. It's a little bit of a combo, a little bit of a glass cannon sometimes. Having the Bailiff kind of stabilizes things. All right. I'll keep it. I'll try. We'll see. Depending on what we're up against, seeing both Spell Pierce might be pretty bad, but I'll tell you what, Spell Pierce hits often. Seeing the 4th mana right away is pretty good. I like that. Overlord does not count as a non-creature, even though it's kind of coming in as just an enchantment, unfortunately, on the stack. I guess it's a creature, right? See if we have a better target here then. And maybe we should have... crap. Maybe we should have mulliganed. These overlords are going to be really rough. Divert Disaster. Hi! That would have been really good last turn. Alright, Tidebinder open, Divert Disaster open, Spell Pierce open. See that? See that? That top end from the opponent. They actually don't have the 5th here. The tap land, which is probably good news. And they don't really want to zombify one of the overlords, right? So I think they're just going to pass it right back. I'm going to just go for the tempo play then. We're going to get the Tidebinder down and start swinging. Oh, we can stop the impending. Oh. Probably the Overlord of Hauntwoods. I don't really know. I don't know which one we want to stop from happening. Looks like they got some removal anyways. So we just slowed down the Overlord of Hauntwoods by 1 turn, which is still worth it, I would say. 4th mana is great news. Okie dokies. With all that mana, Divert, Disaster, and Spell Pierce probably aren't hitting. 6th mana open means a Zombify still gets around everything here. Vel'Gavath's Faithful also gets around it pretty well. They can activate that ability this turn too. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, some deck lists are going to be really, really hard for this to deal with, for sure. Okay. Well, let's see what they mill here with the Bailmerk. Okay. You know what we could have done? If we Riverwalk Technique on the stack of the ability, maybe they would have milled the Overlord. I guess they would have just done the same thing then. Keeping the Vel'Gavath's Faithful. Do we really want this 5/5 to be around? Probably not. We'll have them draw it. The other Overlords are going to be particularly devastating once they power up. This one's already powered up, so they do put it on top. 5th mana is great news, guys. Wow. Alright, let's see what we can pull off here. With the Greatsharks being the MVPs of the deck list for sure. They go full-powered Bailmerk. Get that Greatshark down. Good stuff. Vel'Gavath's Faithful could still come down if they want to chump. Oh, the other Overlord does power up now, though. That's a great trade for them, too, because they just bring it back. With the Faithful. We could counter the Faithful, though. Not a great counterspell for us. Maybe they don't even accept that trade. They don't know what's in hand. Oh, they accept it. Okie dokies. Okay, right. Let's see what the opponent's turn looks like. We might have to counterspell that Vel'Gavath's Faithful, guys. Oh, more mana is terrible news for the rest of these counterspells in hand. All right. Give it a shot, huh? Hopefully they missed the Zombify. Because they'll still have 2 open after the fact. Bitter Triumph. They have 4 mana open. I'll make them pay the 2, because I don't think the Spell Pierce, especially 2 of them, I don't think that's going to do anything else this game. At least we can lock down the last card in their hand. Overlord of the Hauntwoods powers up. We do find more mana. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, guys. Yeah, we didn't do terrible. 3 steps ahead would have been pretty good this game, probably. Well, I guess more, yeah, flat counter spells would have been pretty good. Instead of the ones where we make the opponent pay. All right, Crawling Barrens. Decline. Twist Reality. There we go. There we go. You're still going to have a problem with the Overlord of the Hauntwoods, unfortunately, but I guess Overlords in general will probably be a problem. I could see us having issues against the Naya Reanimator, too. All right, I guess that happens, right? Let them mill 3, see what's in the grave. Yeah, we don't want to use a Twist Reality on something like that. They do grab the Vel'Gavath's Faithful. That's a lot of ramp. Down to 8, 2-turn clock. We can manifest Dread on the Twist Reality. Got 4 on the board from the Crawling Barrens. It could be 2 from the board from the Manifest Dread. Probably shouldn't, though. Phantom Interference is pretty good. Could help us get some tempo in the air. We could swing for 3 this turn, still have a counter open. I'm sorry, swing for 6. I don't know why my brain said 3. That's weird. No, we won't have 3 open. We won't. We'll only have 2 open. But if we don't swing now, take 8. If they got removal, we're just dead. Next turn, the Barons could swing for 8. They could also be on a 2-turn clock. I'm going to try it. Yeah. Yeah, I think we're pretty close to just losing anyways. We might as well go for it. They do have removal, guys. No, it goes through the way they were looking at the Crawling Barrens. All right, like I said, they could be on a 2-turn clock here. It would be great to see mana off the top. So that way we could stop or counter whatever they have for the... Okay, let's go for the Divert Disaster to get a lander token. But Vel'Gavoth's Faithful is still going to be a problem no matter what. And we knew that the Vel'Gavoth's Faithful was there too. So it was worth the swing, right? Maybe. Grab an Overlord of the Baelmerk. So at that point, no matter what, they can block the 8 damage. They get another Vel'Gavoth's Faithful. We do find the mana here, guys. All right. Unfortunately, they have the chump block. But we're just going to go for it. We're going to do the fun thing for sure. Swing for 8. And we still got the Twist Reality too. It's actually really cool. Crawling Barrens carrying some of these. Like I said, though, they got the block, really good stuff. Now, we technically can have a blocker for the Overlord. You know what? Maybe we're not out of this. Opponent that hurts my feelings. That's really good. Okay, I guess the best play is the Spell Pierce, and then we won't have Twist Reality to block the Overlord, but we can't lose the Crawling Barrens. What we will have is Phantom Interference for a counter spell. I'd rather lose this way. It's really funny. That was a good play, opponent, for real. All right, hey, good game. Let's drop the Fancy Pants GG for this one. And we'll use the Lander token, because I can. Haha, I block with my island. Ow, my face. That's good. That's good. We're really showcasing both sides of the deck list here, where some deck lists are just like devastated by counterspell after tempo play, right? And then other deck lists don't care at all, right? They just keep on rolling. And I'd say the Overlords in general, like I said, I think will struggle against the Naya Yuna deck list too, because they don't need they don't need Yuna to reanimate once they get to the mid game. At that point, they just start playing their Overlords and have an overwhelming amount of value, and at that point too, card advantage from the Overlords too. All right, we go first. Sure, yeah, it's pretty slow, but I don't mind this hand. I really like seeing the Greatshark. I know that much. I learned that today. Mountain. Oh dear. Okay. Some early counter spells would be pretty good. Tidebinder can lock the Mako's ability down, but not right away. Gonna be an Engineer. Okay. I don't know what we're up against, guys. I really don't. Have Tidebinder open. Let's see what they get done here. Maybe Tidebinder can block the Mako, but no, it's not going to be able to block the Mako. What we will do is stop the Mako's ability, and then they'll just swing with the Engineer. They do trade a Vivi into the yard. They don't have a blue source yet, but go ahead and block that Mako's ability. Honestly, blocking I guess if it's going to be VV Cauldron. Yeah, we'll take the 2. Excuse me, guys. Oh, another Tidebinder is actually really good. Also, when it comes time for the 5th mana, that's going to be amazing. The Greatshark should be an excellent surprise for the opponent. Technique can stop non-creature spells or bounce things back, which we really don't want to do. I think if we go for the swing, they take the trade from the fear of missing out all day, and there's a better chump block in the Tidebinder's future too, so... There's the blue source, nice. It's possible that they were holding on to that the whole time just as a little bit of a secret to try to hide exactly what their deck list was doing right away. That is probably an excellent counter. However, when it hits the table, we can do the Tidebinder instead and save the techniques. But then we have to be very careful about how this Tidebinder dies. Yeah, the permanent loses all abilities. So this should be pretty good. But then how does the Tidebinder die is the question. Is it going to be... See, if we had Spell Pierce this game, it'd be a whole different game. Spell Pierce last game, not so much. Did you go for the swing? This might be a worthwhile swing into this Tidebinder. They get the Mako ability back, but that's probably worthwhile. Alright, 5th mana down on the table. Greatshark open. Sit back. Awkwardly pass it back as Fear of Missing Out is excellent blocker, as always, pretty much in any game. A 2-3 is just not as bad as you would ever think. Agatha Soul Cauldron. Okay, hey, wait, that's an artifact. Oh, worth it. I was going to say, non-creature, like, I thought we were going to have to use the Riverwalk technique to stop this. Greatshark counters artifacts and creatures. Yeah, get that Cauldron out of here. Hey, speaking of Spell Pierce, wonder what they're going to keep open over there. I don't see Spell Pierce very often from opponents, though, so... They are keeping it open, though. 6th mana on the table. We can finally start swinging. Let's do this. See if they chump. I mean, they don't have the Mako ability as long as we hold on to the Tidebinder anyways. They'll take the 5. All right. 3 more turns of swinging like that. Let's do it. So far, so good, right? I really like Riverwalk Technique in this one because we have so much mana. Like 4 mana isn't really holding us here. Tersa's really good. Even if we banish it, it still has haste and they still get the ETB next turn. So it happens, unfortunately. Luckily, the Eidetic Memory's ability is locked out. That would be a worthwhile trade into this Tidebinder, but then they will get the Eidetic Memory abilities back. The Mako ability is back online too since we took that trade last turn. They do have an open blue source here too, guys. Holy cow. I'm on the edge of my seat. I think this could really go either way. Right now, the opponent has a wonderful lineup versus what we're seeing. More Greatsharks would, of course, be really good. But missing the Greatshark for the turn where the Light Shatter was, I don't know. Even more Greatsharks now, they might just run out another Cauldron or something, which means we'll just have to keep the Technique open to counter it instead. No, a Greatshark off the top could still deal with Cauldron, but there's still other goodies in there that we might have to counter. Into the Floodmaw. That's probably an okay tempo to accept, right? Probably. Fear of missing out powers up here, guys. Get the Eidetic Memory. I apologize, opponent. I'm thinking, buddy, I'm going to use at least one of these timers to make sure I'm playing this out correctly, because I do think this is the last game of the evening. Bouncing the Fear of missing out just doesn't seem good. It just doesn't. They'll get the ETB again. being able to untap and swing with a 3. We could always block the 3. Probably untap the 2. A lot of extra damage. Wait a minute. Greatshark's back in hand. How come they get the eidetic memory here, guys? The ability. I'm definitely missing something there, right? How come they get this ability? That permanent loses all abilities for as long as this creature remains on the battlefield. Mana abilities can't be targeted. I am confused. I do not know how Magic the Gathering works sometimes, guys. So yeah, by bouncing the Greatshark, we can flash it back in. So that is really good. We can trade into the Fear of Missing Out, but I plan on banishing it next turn, so we'll just take the extra damage. At that point, we'll block here, and we'll trade into the Light Shatterer, because apparently the Tidebinder is not doing the job that I thought it was doing for the memory, because they also had the Mako ability too. There's a Spell Pierce. That'll really come in handy. See, Spell Pierce in general, even in that last turn. Yeah, so the tempo play ended up working in our favor. Maybe the opponent forgot this had Flash? I'm not 100% certain, guys. I'm really not. Down to 10, 2 more turns. Can we survive? Yes. Let's see if they find another Tursa, because that would be really good for them. Winter Night Stories is... They got 2 mana open, unfortunately, so now Spell Pierce is missing again. If we banish the Fear of Missing Out, they'll draw it right away. That could be okay. But I kind of want them to target the Fear of Missing Out with the eidetic memory. This would be a really great counterspell, but we have to deal with the Fear of Missing Out that's on the table. And we don't want them to draw this right away. We want it to be banished on top of the deck list. It's very unlikely that they'll put it at the bottom. Too bad they hit that mana, because if they didn't, yeah, Spell Pierce would have been perfect on this. They could do it again from the grave by tapping the Fear, but they might as well go for a maximum amount of damage. And they don't know if we actually have a way through here. They do find a chump blocker for next turn, which I think they might actually want to take that chump block when it comes time. Let's see if they try to spread this wide with the eidetic memory. So they could go for lethal this turn, but they know we have something. Like, they can just assume. They are going for it, though. Now, I suppose we wait for the actual swing. Wait for them to untap, too. Right, wait for the very last moment, in other words. Alright, banish that 9/10 Fear of Missing Out. At the end of this game, I want to read the eidetic memory, and I want to read the Tidebinder through real quick, guys. Always feel free to skip ahead and whatnot. Oh, guys, you know what I forgot to do? I forgot to go over, like, the mid-video stuff. Beginning of combat on your turn, if you've drawn more, where X is the number of cards you've drawn. Why did the Mako get the buff? Guys, I'm so confused. I have no idea how to play this game. Wait a minute. At the beginning of combat on your turn, if you draw 2 combats from the Fear of Missing Out. 2 combats, guys. Oh. Mistakes were made. I should have never let them swing with that Fear of Missing Out. Now we don't have a good swing. I'll swing anyways. It's a good trade is what it is. And they don't know what's in our hand, too. They got 1 card remaining. They could go Harmonize the Winter Night Stories. Wow, they're going to take it, too. All right. Down to 5. Diversion Unit. 5 mana open for a Spell Pierce and the Riverwalk Technique in hand, too. So if they do find something, maybe the Spell Pierce can finally show off that it's actually a good counter spell. I promise, guys. I promise. It's just really awkwardly missing today. Perfect. Yes, that is good. That is good. If we stop their tempo and we still have Riverwalk Technique open, with them being at 5, they see Fear of Missing Out, of course, because we sent that there. We still got blockers, but now that we're in the air, we could still go for the draw on the Winter Night Stories. Okay, we're going to banish the Mako. They get just free card draw off of the Fear of Missing Out because their hand is empty. Scary business. They do find another creature, which is really bad news, especially since it's a Fear of Missing Out. Okay, this has been a really hard one to play around. I think they want to tap that Mako down. They are passing to combat. This is sorcery speed only, so I think they're going to go for that swing. Let's see where they boost. They probably want to boost wide based on everything that we've had so far. No maximum hand size. They do boost wide here. Yep, that's pretty good. That's really good for next turn. They'll have a ton of damage on the board if we don't end up having a blocker. They go for the swing, and I'm going to stick to it. They'll still have the Winter Night Stories for the end turn, though. We won't have a counterspell then. If we take 4 down to 9 and we counter the Winter Night Stories, it could be a little bit less. But they keep 3 creatures on the board. Untapping a couple, 2 in the air, Greatshark blocks on the ground. This is a hard one, guys. This is a really hard one. Down to 9. Let's do it. I think we're in danger either way, especially with that second Fear of Missing Out. That was really good. They aren't playing it. They aren't doing the Winter Night Stories. I guess it's too risky based on our tempo. Being at 9. Mana is one of the worst case scenarios easily. If we keep blockers on the ground, River Technique for next turn. We're on a 3 turn. We got him on a 3 turn clock, which we don't have right now. Trade there is really good for the opponent, actually, because they'll still have Fear of Missing Out next turn. I don't think they chump. This is hard, guys. It really is. I'm going for it. Yep, if we're stuck between a rock and a hard place, we might as well go for the fun swings, see what the opponents do, and then, I mean, we still have 1 card open. So, I'd say 3 steps ahead would have been amazing this game. Yep, being able to copy the Greatshark on the board would have been just the tempo that we needed, and then Greatshark would have been able to, like, off the counter, would have been able to... Yeah, off the copy would have been able to counter a creature like the Fear of Missing Out, which would have been really, really good. Yeah, all 4 3 steps ahead for a very good reason. Pretty much every game today, it would have been terrific. They do decide to go for the trade. Yep, they thought about it, and I think that was a good decision, a good call from the opponent. We could try to save the Greatshark, but then lose next turn. It's not a terrible trade for us. They go down to 3. I think this could have been anyone's game, guys. Also, 3 steps ahead now also could have copied the Diversion Unit, and potentially we could have won by swinging in the air next turn. With all this mana open, too, even if we only saw... No, if we saw 7 mana, it would have cost 8 mana to use the technique and copy the Diversion Unit, so... Soul Cauldron. I guess if we don't... If we let them do Soul Cauldron... The Mako, I guess we let that happen because we have to banish a creature, but they get 2 combats with the Eidetic Memory, so we probably have to banish the Fear of Missing Out. So when Soul Cauldron targets Fear, and Eidetic Memory targets Fear, hopefully, I don't know. I don't know, this one's melting my brain, guys. And this deck list in general is really, really hard to play around anyways. Oh, exhaustibility for the dragon, maybe? So it's not a VV. I guess that makes sense, but they would have been able to play Winter Night Stories from their hand, drawn a whole bunch. Either way, the Mako has the dragon ability. They can swing for 8 or keep the 1 back. Alright, I guess now's the time. Because we want them to exhaust the Mako's dragon ability, not the fear of missing out dragon ability. And it's not at sorcery speed, so if we let them get the counter and wait for before combat to banish. Alright, Eidetic Memory. As no extra counters this turn, thank goodness. Wow, Riverwalk Technique is not half bad, actually, huh, guys? It really isn't. It might keep us in for one more turn. No, now that Soul Cauldron's established, while they exhaust there, they can put the other counter on the dragon. We banish the dragon. They get card draw on fear of missing out. If we banish dragon this turn, get them down to 1. We die next turn to the draw on the Eidetic Memory and the Mako boost, plus the Cauldron boost too. What a game, huh? What a match. Getting that dragon in the air, really good play from the opponent, because then we didn't have, like, if they would have grabbed anything else and we would have had to swing that turn, the Riverwalk Technique potentially would have won us this game. Alright, let's hope that they put that counter on the dragon so we have a good banish. That's 1 extra card so far, and they still have this Winter Night Stories chilling. Hopefully I'm playing this out well enough for you guys. It's been a tough one. They do go VV, which means Marauding Mako already has the VV ability. And I guess here we go, right? We don't want the dragon to have another dragon. We don't want them to be able to exhaust on the stack. They still got 1 card in hand, guys. Alright. The token is gone. What did they end up drawing? And I guess the Eidetic Memory can plug into the fear of missing out. It was mana. That's good news for us, man. Are they finally going to play the Winter Night Stories, then boost the fear of missing out with the Eidetic Memory? With the VV ability, they might as well, because they'll still have enough mana open to exhaust. They tap the fear of missing out, actually. These do have VV's ability, though, right? Yeah, they totally do. But I guess Mako gets the boost, then VV will have an even bigger pool of mana to use. That makes sense. That totally makes sense. Another VV to the grave. Yeah, now a bigger pool of mana to play the last 2 cards in their hand, and also forcing a chump block here. Unless they find some removal for the Diversion Unit. Oh, Tursa. Now they can boost the Tursa with the Eidetic Memory. As they're going, I kind of wish the Eidetic Memory would have like a little number on it to show how many past the first draw it was. That way it's a little easier to calculate, because it can get a little confusing as it goes on here, you know? They go for the top exhaust there too with the extra. And then it was a very good game, opponent. Very well played. The dragon was crazy, and then even if you missed the dragon, looks like they were going to get that victory either way, just simply by popping off. And we're going to let them completely play this out, guys. Always feel free to skip ahead. The next thing, of course, is going to be the final thoughts, because we're almost an hour in. Ah, then haste to the dragon too. Yep. All of a sudden, the Draconautics Engineer makes sense. Yep, very good game. I think that could have also been anyone's, and potentially my fault, right? Totally. Alright guys, let's go talk about this silly deck list, which performed way better than I was expecting today. Pushing it over time, I'm going to skip the end of video pack. And guys, like I said, I think I forgot to go over the mid-video stuff. If you like the channel, make sure you actually drop it a like. If you enjoy the channel, consider subscribing. Oh wait, how did I say that? If you like the video, consider dropping it a like. If you enjoy the channel, consider subscribing. It really does help out the channel, guys. Yeah. Yeah, there we go. I said it properly. Down in the description too, we have that Discord link. We also have that Patreon link if you're interested in joining either of those up or supporting the channel that way. Here's the deck list again. So counterspells only. Every single card in here counters something. Neat. Did way better than I thought. I thought the Manifest Dread on the Twist Reality was going to come in handy more, but in reality, it's funny. You just always need to counter something. Like the opponent is always dropping something so extreme that it just cannot be on the board. That's wild to think about, right? So Twist Reality just never using the Manifest Dread. I'm surprised by that. I thought it was going to be more of a tempo card. 3 steps ahead. Too bad we can't play 8 3 steps ahead, because if we could, I think the deck list would have been way better, and it already performed much better than I thought. Blue Cat making a return for this video. Let me know if you enjoyed the Blue Cat artwork. Usually Blue Cat only makes an appearance on April Fool's Day, but not today. I couldn't save this deck list for April Fool's either. That's way too far away. So Phantom Interference also just not being a tempo card at all today, right? Never 4 mana, always just needs to be a counterspell. Spell Pierce being a little awkward in some of those games. It'll happen sometimes. You could just consider more Negate, and that would be fine, I guess. We always had open mana, so more Negate, less Spell Pierce. Annul probably is fine. Counter, target, artifact, or enchantment. You look at it and you're like, well, why don't you just play Negate? Because there's enchantment creatures all over Standard, overlords or sagas, whatever it may be, and then artifacts too. Yeah, plenty of artifact creatures, but then also you're not just focused on artifact creatures or enchantment creatures. This also hits regular enchantments, Caretaker's Talent and stuff too, which of course Negate does, but again, Negate doesn't hit the creatures. So yeah, I like Annul as a one of, and then if a Spell Pierce and Annul is ever holding you up, you could always trade it out to the 3 steps ahead bottom ability. I think the more we played today, I think the more comfortable I would have been playing with all these counter spells, and I think it could actually do pretty decent. Now, the funny thing is, you know, we're doing it for the meme at that point with counter spells only, so we have to play cards like Riverwalk Technique as our bounce spells. But if we just skip the meme and just add some actual bounce spells, a couple top-end Aetherize, drop some of these other counters, go up actual bounce off. Probably not into the Floodmaw. If any, into the Floodmaw, maybe like 1. Because actual bounce off could have some really good plays where you bounce these creatures back to potentially play them again and get another counter on something. Like the Greatshark being bounced back in that last game with the Into the Floodmaw was actually just really beneficial for us. 24 mana made a lot of sense, and the 2 Crawling Barrens. Keep your eye on Crawling Barrens. I keep bringing it up. Criminally underplayed land, guys. For real. In the right deck list, Crawling Barrens is excellent and can be the only reason you win some games. So, yeah. I liked this as a 2 of a lot. And this was a reprint in Foundations, I believe. And I'm playing the older one here, but yeah. Really neat stuff. I don't have too much else to say. Like I said, we're over that hour mark, so we should probably just say enough rambling. Let me know down in the comments what you thought of the deck list. What would you add or take out? What other counter spells did I miss for this deck list? And do you agree if we just skip the meme, drop some of these counter spells, go up some tempo, it would actually be good, right? I feel like it could be. Yeah. And then also at that point, we could maybe play some more powerful counter spells and drop like Twist Reality and stuff too. So yeah, dropping Riverwalk Technique, dropping Twist Reality, going up some bounce, going up a couple Aetherize. Aetherize working really well against green landfall, which surprisingly knows how to go wide. So if you can survive to that turn 4 and just bounce their 64/64 Mossborn Hydra and their 2000 power Tifa. Yeah, Aetherize is also a criminally underplayed card for real, guys. Just normal bounce spells can be fizzled out by Snakeskin Veil, but Aetherize hits them all. So, all right, guys. Now, actually, enough rambling. If you made it this far in, y'all are champions for real. I super duper appreciate you, and I will see you in the next video.